folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. It really does help when you do that. So today folks, I've got a very interesting boost pedal to show you. Now, as regulars to this channel will know, I'm a big fan of tube pedals. And here in the UK, we pretty much have one tube pedal manufacturer to rule them all, which is Effectrode. Now, they're best known for things like their Blackbird preamp and the PC2A tube compressor, but the pedal I've got for you today is a little bit different to that. This here is the Blue Bottle, and I should say that this was a limited edition pedal, so currently the only way to get your hands on one of these is on the used market. It is still listed on the Effectrode website, but it's been sold out for the longest time, and I've no idea if they're ever going to do another batch of these or not. But essentially what the Blue Bottle is a collaboration between Phil at Effectrode and a guitarist named John Verity, who had some hits back in the 70s with a band called Argent, and he's since had a very fruitful solo career. And John is a wonderful guitar player and also very accomplished at playing the blues. Two things that I am not. So if you want to hear this pedal with some soulful blues licks, go and watch John's videos of this. You're not going to get that from me. I'm something of a dumb rock guitarist in comparison. But basically what this pedal is John wanted something that would take his Strat and thicken it up to sound closer to a Les Paul or a 335. But Phil being Phil, he didn't just design a mid-range boost, he based this pedal on a tube Pultec Outboard unit from many decades ago, a classic piece of studio gear. So it definitely has its own thing going on. It's a very characterful boost, this. Now, you get two knobs, mid boost and volume. The mid boost gives you up to 12 dB of active mid boost at around 500 Hz, exactly the right frequencies for thickening up something like a Fender Strat. But on the volume control, unity gain is about 1 o'clock, and above that you get 18 dB of full frequency boost. So by my bad maths, when you dime both knobs, that gives you almost 30 dB of mids to hoof into the front end of your amp, and that will definitely thicken up any guitar you put into this thing. But on the top you also get this high cut switch, and essentially in the middle position it's not doing anything at all, but up it gives you a 6 dB cut at around 3K, and down it gives you a 6 dB cut at 6K. So it's perfect for just taming those harsh upper mid-range frequencies or presency frequencies depending on where you have it set. It's fairly subtle in the real world, but it's worth its weight in gold for really fine-tuning which guitar and amp you're using this with. So what I'm going to do today, folks, is two things. Firstly, I'm going to use this pedal exactly as it's intended, with a Strat into a Fender type amp, a naturally quite scoopy sound, and use it to really thicken out the low mids and boost the front end of the amp. But at the end, I'm going to use a guitar with humbuckers into a fairly cranked Marshall type amp. Not this pedal's happy place whatsoever, but I want to see whether we can use it in a variety of different situations to get some epic classic rock tones. So I cannot wait to show you this today, folks. It's a very, very interesting and fun pedal to play. So without further ado, here we go. there we are, folks. Now, please do comment underneath. Let me know what you thought of the blue bottle today. Did you think it worked thickening up the Strat? Did you like it with the humbuckers into the Marshall? I love chatting nerdy guitar stuff with you folks down in the comments section. Now, this is such a fun pedal to use because it's very easy to dial in some amazing sounds regardless of the rig you're using. Yes, it works beautifully for thickening up a Strat, but as you heard at the end there, with humbuckers into a Marshall, not what it's designed for at all, you can still get some incredible classic rock tones. And that high cut switch is perfect for just taming some of the harshness or sibilant frequencies. It's fairly subtle, but it's definitely having a very noticeable effect on your overall sound. So it's very, very configurable list, despite only being 2 knobs and 1 switch. But I think overall there's 2 things I love about this pedal most. Firstly, Phil based it on the Tube Pultec EQ. So even with the volume set to unity and the mid boost off and the high cut switch out, it does add something to your guitar sound. It's a little bit of grit in there. It's just a very vibey and characterful pedal to have on all the time. But also what I love about this is it serves a fairly similar purpose to a Tube Screamer, but sounds nothing like a Tube Screamer because it doesn't really gain up on its own. And of course, using a boost pedal is fairly dependent on the amp you're running it into as to how the overall sound comes out the speakers. Because this isn't really gaining up, it's pushing the front end and the power section of my amps today to really create the overdrive. So it does depend on the amp. But I think it's important to separate the sound of a Tube Screamer from the functionality of a Tube Screamer. I love Tube Screamers, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic circuits, but they sound like Tube Screamers. They thicken up the low mids, that's the function of a Tube Screamer, but they also sound like a Tube Screamer. This thickens up the low mids in a fairly similar way, but it sounds nothing like a Tube Screamer. And by being a cleanish boost, it just sounds like your amp, but with more mids. So I really, really love that about it. It's fairly kind of uncoloured in terms of its own gain structure. It boosts the mids, but it just really enhances your core sound and how your amplifier is in the room. So if you're using an amazing tube amp and you love how it sounds, this just gives you more of it with a bit of mids coloured in. So it's a very, very impressive pedal list. But as always, folks, those are just my thoughts. So please do comment underneath and let me know yours. I love hearing from you guys on all this sort of stuff. So thank you ever so much for watching, folks. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. Please do carry on subscribing. I know I always say it, but it makes a huge difference when you hit subscribe. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.